What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? It is Jasir. I am here again. Um, another Reset Sunday. Appreciate y'all for checking us out. Remember, we want to grow this page, grow this page, grow this page. So we need y'all to do us a favor. We need y'all to like, subscribe to this page. And once you like and subscribe to this page, we need y'all to go to your cell phone, whatever you're watching this on, and share it with somebody else so that they can get turned on to what we do here at your PTHD, particularly on Reset Sundays. Alright? So, we're about to get it in. We're about to go in. About to go in. Alright? Okay. One of my favorite beats by Nas, but hey, let's get it in. Again, welcome, y'all. I am Jasir Franklin. This is what I do. It's who I be. Post-traumatic hood disorders is what we are. This is what the name of the organization is. This is what we do. This is the umbrella of everything that we do. Post-traumatic hood disorders, which is short for PTHD. And you may be asking what in the world is PTHD? This is my first time tuning into this thing. Well, PTHD basically stands for, again, post-traumatic hood disorders, that we deal with what we call hood-based trauma, okay? If you grew up in the hood, I don't care where it's at. I don't care where you're at in this world right now. I don't care if you got a college degree, the picket fence, the house, the dog, the spouse, all of that. If you grew up in the hood, or if you're still in the hood, living in the projects or living day-to-day struggling, still in the hood, if you come from that environment at all, you have PTHD. So, and you suffer from hood-based trauma. So this is what we do. We deal with it on a different level. We try to identify it and then show you how to come through that energy so that you can shift and be whole as possible before we all leave this planet, right? If you want to make the world a better place, you got to start within your brain, your mind, one person at a time. We can't just go out and just start painting walls and start marching and sweeping up trash to think we're going to make this world a better place. It starts in the mind. It starts with how we think about life in general and how we approach life as a whole and then as a collective. All right. So again, we deal with hood-based traumas here. If you want to know more about what we offer here, we do offer more than just conversation on Sundays. We have hood summits once a month. We have a Minergy meetup for men once a month. We have courses that we teach: Rewire, Reneg, Reset, different courses. We have courses for kids, Check the Rhyme. We have a bunch of stuff. You just got to go to the website. If you want to get involved, become a member, get you a plan, just go to the Engage tab on the website, get you a plan and support. Let's get involved with this change, all right? Now, if you want to know how hood you are, if you even have this for real, go here to pthdmember.com, pthdmember.com, and see how hood are you. There's a 15-question questionnaire. When you go there, you're going to have a little 5-liner. Put your information in. That way we can keep in contact with you. But right below that is a 5-liner. I mean, a button where it says get tested. How hood are you? Get tested. You click on that. A quiz is going to pop up, about 15 questions. And let's see how hood you are. That way when we talk to you, we know how to help you and work with you, okay? And if you want to support us today, or for anything that we do, you want to support what we do, our efforts, go to Venmo and drop whatever you feel is a blessing for us at Heal PTHD. All right? So our Venmo is Heal PTHD. So if you want to drop us a blessing, please do. Go there and do that. All right, again, welcome to Reset Sundays. We're about to get it in and talk about what we came to talk about, all right? What are we talking about today, y'all? We're talking about this. Selfhood. Yeah, selfhood. This is going to be an interesting conversation, so buckle your seatbelts. Get ready for this. Um, and please, as usual, you might want to get out a pen. You might want to get a pad. You might want to take some notes. All right. But remember to get ready to do this. Renege, reset, rewire. That is our motto. That is how we get it done over here. And that's why we created courses around that. So get ready for that though. Renege, reset, and rewire. Okay. But today we're talking about selfhood. So do me a favor. First, we got to breathe. Number one, I got to breathe myself because I had a rough day yesterday. So I want to make sure I give y'all my complete, undivided, unemotional attention. So I'm going to breathe first. If y'all want to join me, go and come on with me. Close your eyes real quick and put your hands on your knees and let your palms face the ceiling. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths in and hold them and relax our shoulders. Relax our mind. Let our conscience be free. Get down and let's breathe with PTHD. All right. On 3, we're going to breathe it in. You're going to breathe it in through your stomach and let it out through your mouth, not through your nose. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Breathe it in. And release it. Relax your shoulders. Relax your mind. Let's get set for this. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Breathe it in. Hold it. Release it. All right, I lied. One more time. Take it in one more time with me. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathe it in. Hold it. Then relax it. And just sit with that energy for a couple seconds. All right. Coming out of it. Let's go. Selfhood, what we talking about? What we doing? What we doing? Let's do this, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. So what we doing? Selfhood. I want you to do me a favor. I want to take you down a pathway as we start this, okay? So I want you to imagine something real quick. Imagine you've always dreamed of opening your own business, right? Maybe it's a cooking business, a restaurant, maybe it's fashion, fitness, maybe it's community work like me, right? Maybe it's community work. But something that brings you peace, something that brings you joy, something that makes you feel like you're alive. It's like something that you probably would do for free, right? If you had a chance. Now, deep down, you know that that's God's place for you on this planet. You know that this is why God placed you on this planet because it makes you feel good inside. It gives you the warm and fuzzy feelings inside. Now, but instead, every morning you drag yourself to a job you cannot stand, a place that drains your energy and stresses you out and robs you of your creativity. I know this feeling so well. I had a job before I went independent, and I was like hating every day of it. Like putting me on the job is like putting me back on a plantation. Like I couldn't stand it, and because I felt like I needed to take care of my kids, and I had these bills that I created and all these things, but I just couldn't walk away at the time. But I had to make a choice one day. I got a phone call from somebody organization that I was a part of that was offering me a piece of what he was doing. And it was a business that I loved. And I was like, man, I got an opportunity to do this myself. And he gave me a piece of it. I bought a piece of it, basically. And one day I was at work and I was just struggling with it again. I just boldly made a decision. That day I quit. And what did I go do? I went and got into that stuff. I didn't have a plan whatsoever. That was a bad idea, to be honest, but I didn't have a plan whatsoever. Besides, I had this new information that I wanted to do for a long time. I got it. I put it all together and programmed it and put it together how I wanted it to be. And it later became what I used to do called California Ticketmasters. California Ticketmasters is a business that I started back in 2009 that I help people with traffic tickets. So, and I still do it to this day. So if you ever need help, you know, you can reach out to your boy. But at the same time, I started that business blindly because I just didn't want to be in the cage no more. So, and I did good with that business. I did really good with that business. I helped a lot of people with that business, nationwide even. So, at the end of the day, it worked out for me because I knew that that wasn't my destiny. What is your situation? Why are you not leaving your job? Why are you not leaving that job that has you stressed out? Why are you not choosing what God has made and paved the way for you to do here on this planet? Why are you choosing something that's never going to give you dividends or peace or joy? Why are you doing that? So here's the selfhood question. What's really keeping you from walking the path that brings you peace instead of staying stuck in the one that brings you stress? For some, it's fear and of failure. I know a lot of people fear that. People fear what's on the other side of a decision because they don't know what it looks like. When you try to do something different, you try to do something that's new, you don't know what's on the other side of that, especially when society says something otherwise. See, society tells you to go to school, get a job, and then follow the program, pay your taxes, take a vacation, do these things, like be regular like everybody else. Society doesn't tell you to go be you and find God and find what your purpose that God put in you. Society doesn't tell you that. Society makes you become a robot. So you continually go into your job because it gives you a false sense of security, right? Am I right, y'all? I mean, talk to me when I'm wrong. All right, I'll take it off. We strong over here. For many, these are all for checks and everything else that we get from this thing that's false. But you can get way bigger checks with your own business if you work it right, right? But for the most part, y'all, for most of us, this is because we are stuck on old contracts and agreements with survival, with doubt. And like I said, what the world told us we should be doing. Walking the path means you renege on old contracts, resetting your vision by imagining the future where your gifts are your livelihood. You see, I have a thing where you cannot retire from your purpose. Your purpose is in you until you leave this earth. You retire from what you got a degree in because you only probably got the degree because it makes money. You only got this decent job or this job that you probably even hate to go to every day because it pays you money and it pays the bills. You retire from that. Purpose you cannot retire from because guess what? That is why God made you. You will be doing that until you leave this earth in some way, shape, form, or fashion. If you have a physical nature, um, and you get to an age where you can't do it, you're probably going to work in that industry in some way, managing, owning a business. Like you're going to work in that business because this is what you know. This is what you do. If you're a creative, you're definitely you can create until you're out of this world, till you leave this world. Rewiring your mindset with God's wisdom so that faith, not fear, orders your steps is how we do this. This is how we get to our purpose. And this is why we call this thing selfhood, because this is about self. See, we do a lot of things, particularly in our hood summits, about hood. And what we mean by hood, we means like habits ordering or orbiting our destinies. Habits orbiting our destiny, right? These are the habits that we got to cultivate, eliminate at times, so that our destiny can be reached. These habits that are orbiting our destiny can block or can contribute to our destiny in a positive way, depending on what stars we got, planets we got orbiting our destiny. That's up to us. We make that choice. Make sense? Do I have any comments yet? No comments yet? Cool. All right. Let's get back to this. I got a couple questions I want to get through real quick. Number one, what does knowledge of self mean to you? We hear about it all the time, But what does having knowledge of yourself mean to you? I want you to really think about that. Do you know what that means to you? Now, once you understand what knowledge of self is and who you are, why God made you, here's a solution for that. Because we're all trying to figure out how to get to selfhood to where we're living it in a positive nature, to where we are not afraid to do what we came here to do. We are no longer tied, shackled to a desk at a job that we can't stand. And I know it's fear for y'all. But here's how you get away from that concept. Once you understand who you are, you have to renege on the old contracts, release the labels, roles, and limiting beliefs that no longer serve you in this time of change. You see, we say renege, reset, rewire. Renege is the first thing you got to do for anything to change it. You got to go in, identify what's holding you back, and renege on that contract, because you have a contract with it, meaning you have an agreement to keep doing a certain thing that it doesn't work, and it's not going to work for you in the future. But you got to renege on that old contract. And if you don't renege on that old contract, you will continue the process. You will continually go down that pathway of where you don't want to be. And you know that. Number 2, do you truly know who you are and what you were created to do? This is one of my favorite questions, because most people don't know what they are here for. And that's scary to me. Like the bees know to go eat trees and plants and make pollen so that we can replant plants and start all over again and create more trees so that we can have air on planet Earth. They know their job. A little bitty bug about this big knows their job. An ant knows what it's supposed to do. A lion knows what it's supposed to do. How do human beings struggle to figure out what they're here for? Why is it a mystery for us? Or did somebody confuse us so that we won't know what our purpose is? Solution: reset your mind by reimagining your future. See yourself beyond survival and set new goals aligned with your higher calling. Once you know this, then you got to align yourself with what you know about yourself. If it doesn't align with you, then don't get in bed with it. Literally. If it doesn't work for you and what you're supposed to do and what you've been sent here to do, now that you know this, why would you do something in opposition to it? Because you're still trying to keep the old contracts alive. Let's be honest. And I meant to say this in the beginning. This is an accountability session here we're going to have today. None of this stuff works without you being accountable to what needs to be done. I want you to remember that for the rest of this conversation. If you're watching this now, you're watching this later, whenever you hear this, remember, accountability is the most important aspect of this situation that we're talking about, selfhood. Next question is, are you currently walking the path God paid for you, or the one the world has suggested for you? Listen, this is not an attack on anyone, okay? I don't come on these things to attack people, but I do come on these things on Reset Sundays to put some stuff on the table so that we can change. You can't change something you're afraid to identify. Okay? I'm going to read this again. Are you currently walking the path that God paid for you, or the one the world has suggested? There's nothing wrong with going to college. Let me say that real quick. There's nothing wrong with that. But let's be honest. Most people go to college, especially in their freshman year, without a clue at what they want to do with their life and this degree they're going to pursue. Most people choose a major based around what their parents have told them will make them some money and a decent life. Most of our parents don't cultivate what's within us. They push us to do things that they can hope that we can find security in. financially. If we're being honest, we're not pushing, people don't push their kids for the most part to go to school, but figure out what you want to do in life. What did God make you for, baby? I'm going to cultivate that in you so that when you go to school and get that degree in that thing, you have what you need and you will stay working in that field, and you won't just get a degree and then just go get a job in something else completely opposite of what you got a degree on, because you got the degree in something that wasn't your purpose. If we're being honest, that's kind of how this thing goes. If you're going to go to college, and I say this to kids all the time, if you're going to go to college, man, or sis, young lady, figure out what your purpose is before you go. You don't even have to figure it out in your first 2 years, because the first 2 years is just core rec classes anyway. You're not really going to get into any major stuff. But within that first 2 years, if you go, figure out, get in touch with your purpose. Get in touch with yourself. What makes you happy? And do that thing. And then go to your counselor and say, hey, I know what I want to do now. I'm switching my major to this. Now, some of that stuff may piss your parents off, but at the same time, this is your life. God made you different than your parents. Your purpose is not necessarily always tied to your parents' purpose. If that makes sense. Think about this, y'all. I just thought I'd give you an analogy. Now, solutions to this concept. I'm going to read the first question again, but it says, are you currently walking the path God paid for you, or the one that the world suggested? Solution: rewire your mind with the Most High's divine wisdom and order. Align daily choices with spiritual truth. Listen to that. Spiritual truth. Not societal pressure. Okay? Spiritual truth over societal pressures. Spiritual truth meaning, again, what God has planted in you to do. Okay? Hope this is making sense to somebody besides me. Next question was, what do you see as the biggest threat standing in your way of fulfilling your destiny or purpose? Solution to this situation is to starve your distractions. This is a world full of distractions. Social media. I live in LA. Living in LA is nothing but a distraction. I don't care if you leave your house in LA, oh my God, it's just so many distractions. I'm talking cars driving crazy. I'm talking people on the sidewalk talking to themselves going crazy. I'm talking people walking in the middle of the street just randomly. I'm talking alarm sirens, police sirens, ambulance sirens. I'm talking buses, trains. I'm talking airplanes traveling over. I'm talking somebody pulling up next to you, bumping loud music on a motorcycle. Like, it's so many distractions. And then when you get home, you got social media that you're hooked on to. You got TV shows you're hooked on to. You got people that you're in your life that want to call you and talk about absolutely nothing that you hooked on to. Again, these are all distractions. All distractions. And one of the biggest distractions are going to come that when you figure out what you want to do and you tell someone what that is, they're going to act as if that's crazy. It may even be your parents. They're going to be like, no, you can't make no money with that, baby. You got to do it like this. You don't know what that person can do with that. Because it's not always about how much money you can make. It's about if you can sustain your life, of course. But at the same time, what gives you peace is what really matters the most. Solution: identify and starve your distractions. Discipline your habits, relationships, and thoughts so nothing derails your purpose. These things, we're going to get to why these things are so hard in a second. I'm just saying these things right now so I can lay the foundation. But it's not easy. I know that. It's not easy. But there's one thing that's keeping us away from that. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Stay tuned to that because it's coming. We're about solutions here. We ain't about this just talking. I ain't on here just to sound like I'm smart. Okay? Because I've dealt with the same things and still dealing with some of these same things. We're all human. I'm human just like you. I just happen to have a format and a framework that I work from to make sure that I get myself back on track when I get derailed. Hope that makes sense. Number 5, in your experience, What's the real difference between knowing the path and walking the path? What's been the real difference from keeping you, or what derails you? What gets you off of that? Solution: commit to consistency. Transformation doesn't come from information, it comes from embodying the work every single day. I'm really feeling like I'm preaching right now, and I don't like preaching. But here's the thing. Can we be honest real quick? Hopefully you said yes. Hopefully whenever you hear this, you say yes. When this thing says, when I just said it comes from embodying the work every single day, it doesn't come from information. You can learn. I had this thing I said a long time ago. Knowledge is not power. You ever heard that saying, knowledge is power? Well, knowledge is not power. Knowledge with action behind the knowledge is the power. See, a lot of people get knowledge and they don't use it. Right? They get understanding of something and they sit it on the shelf, or they offer it to someone else instead of using it themselves. Knowledge is not power just to have it in your head without using it. If I have a bomb with a fuse, it's a very powerful bomb in my head, right? But it doesn't work until I light it. That's when everybody realizes how powerful this thing really is. You don't know how powerful you really are because you may have got knowledge of yourself, but you are afraid to step out on the limb and trust the universe and go do what's necessary for you to be successful spiritually. But societally, you may look like you got it all together on the surface. Let's keep it a buck, man. Told you, I'm only here to keep it real. I'm not here to do all this lip service talk stuff. That's just not who I am. That's not what I want to do. It's not what I'm ever gonna be. I know me. I know I have knowledge of self. I know me. I know I'm not built that way. I'm more about action. I'm more about people who are ready to do the work. See, look, when you come from the hood, a lot of this stuff is survival. When you come from the hood, you're in survival mode. Your parents probably didn't have it. If they had something, you probably was the only one on the block with it. You trying to protect it. But just because your parents had it don't mean you know how to go get it. You just seen it. You don't know how it was made, right? It's like watching a movie. It looks great. You've seen it 100 times, but how did they make it? You don't know. So you got to go to school, get film school and figure out how they did it, right? Then, oh, now I know how they did that. Like, that's life. That's life. But when you come out of the hood, you're in survival mode. You're just trying to make it. Day to day, live day to day. Most people don't plan 10 years down the road coming out the hood. You just don't because you're too busy in survival mode. But when are you going to change that? How do you change that? Do you know? I hope you wrote these questions down because you're going to need these questions moving forward if you really want to do this change. So let's do this. Let's transition a little bit. Family, let's do this. What we've talked about today is powerful, but knowledge without application is wasted potential. Selfhood is not just about asking the right question. It's about walking the path every day with guidance, accountability, and amongst hopefully, you can find a community of people that's doing exactly what you want to do. Community is very key in this walk. And you got to have community because you can try to do it by yourself, but it's going to be tough. Loneliness in the walk of change is tough. You're going to need a community. That's why Heal PTHD, we created a space for us to go deeper together. When you become a paid member, I want you to go to the website again and go to the page I told you about. If you're interested in getting more information about this and really walking down the path and getting some help with it and being amongst the community, go here right now and go to the Engage tab and pick you a plan and get involved. The plans come with a lot of stuff, hood summits, classes, courses, everything. Like, just get involved. We want to do something that we can help y'all with. We don't want to just be here talking. So if you want to get involved, you want to be a part of the community, you want to be in the space with us, go get you a plan at Heal PTSD and take one of the classes and get involved. All this talking is great, but talking without action is just talking. All right. Hopefully you got that. Now, let's get to the main meat of the situation. I want to address and propose something to y'all, and I'm gonna need you to sit down and listen to me closely. You sitting down? I'm gonna take a drink first. First and foremost, I'm gonna say this. There is nothing wrong with being selfish. Your job is to fix you before you do anything. I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound controversial because I had to do the same thing with my kids too. I had to realize that my kids' purpose is not my purpose. I was partially responsible for them coming to this planet, me and their mother, but their purpose is different than mine. For instance, my son, he wants to do things that I would have never thought to do. Like I would never think to do these things. But does that make it bad? No. At first, I was against it. But I had to realize that this is my man's purpose. He's got to do what he needs to do. My job is to help him to be the best at what he came to do and get out of his way. My plans for him doesn't matter. Only plan that matters is what God has planted in him. Right? I'm talking to the parents right now. If you have children out there, your job is to figure out what they're here to do. Please do not let society dictate what you support with your children. Please do not let society dictate what you send your children off to college to go get degrees in. Help those children find themselves. Help this child to figure out why they are here so that when you pay for their college degree, you can know it's in something that's already in them. That way, when they get out of it, they'll wake up going to work feeling better about themselves and continue that work, and that degree will be beneficial to them and you because you're paying for this thing. Everybody wins when purpose is on the table. You see, again, like I said, when we in selfhood, when we come out that hood, these habits orbiting our destiny, when we have all these things with us, we basically are in survival mode, and society capitalizes on your survivalistic nature. They're going to put things in front of you to make you grasp on the straws because you're drowning. Well, spirituality is not worried about that. Spirituality doesn't function that way. Spirituality will always be there with you, regardless of wherever you are in life. My challenge to you all is to, again, write those questions down and do that with your children and your family, particularly your children, because right now we need to uplift our children. This is a rough world that we're entering into. Purpose has never been more important in this world to me than now, because this world is changing right before our eyes, literally. If we don't get into our purpose, it's just going to be scary. So I'm talking to parents right now. If you are a parent, if you're a grandparent even, cultivate the purpose in that child. Help them to figure out what that is. Support that early on in their life, as early as possible. You might be asking, how do you figure that out, right? Well, how do you figure out what an ant does? How does science figure out what animals do? They observe, right? They observe, report, do it again. Observe, report, do it again, come up with a theory. And then, oh, bees like to, they are responsible for the trees and the pollen and the trees. So we can have air. Like, That's observation. Do the same thing with your kids. Watch what they do naturally well. Maybe they're good with their hands quickly. Maybe one is an athlete, but athlete is not a purpose. Maybe they're smart with math. Maybe they're good at writing. Maybe they love to talk. Maybe they'll be a speaker or a teacher or a preacher or a pastor or something when they grow up. Maybe they'll lead a Fortune 500 company and be Steve Jobs and do a bunch of presentations. Like, you got to watch what they do early. And when you find what that is, don't put them in football. Don't put them in basketball. Those things are okay because it teaches you unity with a team at the same time, but don't put them in that because you want to see them make a sport and get a scholarship. That's not their purpose. But even if you do that, cultivate the purpose within them. Even if you put them on that team, still find their purpose. That way, if they get a football or basketball sports scholarship, they can still go to school and get a degree in what they came in, because there is no degree in NFL. There's no NBA degree. So they still got to get some kind of degree, right? If they make it that far and they're blessed to get a scholarship. More to the story is cultivate their purpose. Help them to find themselves so that the hood habits orbiting their destiny will be positive for them and follow them the rest of their lives. And hopefully it will shield them from this society that they're going to be living in. Selfhood is just that. It's about discovering self, manifesting the things within yourself that you were born with and sent here to do, to make this world better than you found it. Everybody has the same destiny, not the same destiny, I shouldn't say that, but everybody has the same purpose in that way. We're all here with our individual thumbprints to do something on this planet that we have to do to change and make this world better than we found it. Look around you right now. Do you like the world you live in? If you don't like the world you live in, you have a part in what you don't like. Because if we're not all doing something to change it, can you imagine what this is going to look like in even 10 years from now? We got to do our parts, and we got to live in our purpose and stop letting society dictate where we go with this thing in our lives, in this world. Because society didn't create this world. It's time to be selfish. It's really time to be selfish. And selfish is not a bad thing always. There's two sides to every coin. Let's choose the positive side of this thing. Let's choose the positive side of this thing. And let's go be selfish. Again, I want you to go to pthdmember.com, fill out the 5-liner, take the test to see how hood are you. and pass it on to other people. It's a really good test. I think y'all would enjoy it. You will get a lot from it. Pass it on to some people you may think that's going through the same thing. And it's time to heal what we call this hood-based trauma, y'all. It's time to get out of survival mode. It's time to get into purpose mode. Only way we do that is to really examine self and go through the process and change the command with self. Now, we have some programs that helps you do that. I want you to, again, get involved. Go to the website, sign up, and get involved. If you're really ready to do this, I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound some kind of way, but it's okay. I truly am only interested in working with people who are tired and ready to change. I'm not here for the talks. I'm not here for the conversation. I'm not here to get up every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock and do this just so I can sound this and get some likes and grow the page. That's cute and everything. Matter of fact, go subscribe now. But I'm only really here because I know what this walk is like. I know what growing up in the hood is like. I know how it damages your psyche. I still deal with it to this day. If I'm being transparent, I still deal with it. I've had a couple of run-ins with a few people this last couple of weeks, people that I really care about. I've had some run-ins with that I've had to come back to the table and self-examine, like, Jasir, you doing it again. Don't do that. Rewire, reset, renege. We got to do this thing. And it's going to be a thing that you got to continuously do. And that's the thing. People think it's going to be one class. I'm going to take this thing and it's over. That's not real. That class is going to give you the infrastructure you need to make the changes. Life is always going to happen. Things are always going to come up that you don't expect, that's going to test that thing you're working on. Be patient with it. And hopefully the person that you're with is going to be patient with you, because they're doing the same thing that you're doing, because you got to be patient with them. See how this thing works, man? It's a cycle. It goes in a cycle, man. I hope y'all get something from this, man. Again, if you want to support us too today for anything that we're doing today or in the future, whenever you see this video, go to Venmo, drop us whatever you feel like laying on us. That's cool. There's no minimum, no maximum. We appreciate your time for even listening to me on a Sunday or whenever you hear this video. All right. Look, go do self. Go meditate. Go work out. Do whatever makes you feel good to get into you. And do it well. Do you well. I hope you got something from this. I appreciate your time. If you got any questions for us, you know how to reach us. All right. If not, until then, I'll see you next Sunday on Recess Sundays. All right. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.